Hey guys, I'm Marta Geek. In this video, I want to share with you guys a couple tips that you should know about the Honor 5X if you're planning to get this awesome $200 phone. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first of all, let's go ahead and start with the lock screen toggles. You swipe up to access the toggles. Here you're going to have some media controls. If you have played music on the phone, you're going to see the media controls there. Here you have the recording app. You also have calculator, and you also have the flashlight, and you also have the camera app, which doesn't make sense because there's so many ways you can open the camera from the lock screen. The problem here is that there's no way to customize those toggle in the lock screen. These settings that you see there is for password and screen lock, and that's it. Next, we want to talk about the themes of this phone. This phone, you can actually apply some themes here. It has an app where you can apply only 3 themes, which for me is very low. But hey, when you apply a theme, it will change completely the icons. Like you see there, it changes the way the phone app looks, the camera app looks. And all the phone apps are actually going to be different every time you change the themes. The only problem that I have with the theme app is that those are the only 3 themes available. I don't know if there's going to be an update later on to add some more. It's not like the Galaxy phones that you can actually download themes created by users. So there's hundreds and hundreds of themes available. Here you only get three. They do change the way the apps looks, like you see there. Like you see there, looks very cool. I like the way the apps actually look. But it would have been nice if there was like a store or there was like a social network feature where people can actually upload and create their own themes. That would have been nice. But you could still dig into the themes and like see here, you could change, for example, the lock screen theme, the home screen theme, the default fonts and icons as well, which is very cool. But basically, other than that, all you can do on this phone besides these themes is applying a launcher, and that's it. In settings, you got home screen style. You can access the easy mode or simple mode, which is basically a very cool mode. For example, if you're handling this phone to somebody who is an elderly person or a person that can't really see that much, or to a very adult person that never used a smartphone before. This is very cool because everything looks simple. You can add other apps that are not available there by default. You can also add more pages as well, so they can have more apps available there. The settings, it looks way more simpler. It's easy to navigate. And I think it looks very cool as well. When I first turned it on, I actually it resembles for me like Windows Phone. The layout looks pretty cool. I like the colors, and for me, it looks very nice. It's easy to switch to. If you want to go back to the normal mode, it's easy to go back to the settings and just select the home screen style, and that's how you switch to the normal mode. But like you see here, you can add more pages, and I think it's a very cool mode. It's very well done. The other thing here in settings, when you go to display, you can actually turn on and off the indicator light right there if you don't want to see it. You can also turn on and off the carrier name as well, which is very cool if you don't like having the notification center so cluttered. And you can also just turn on and off the network speed as well, which is brought to you in real time. It's very cool, but it's not that important to have there. Another thing here, the battery percentage is not going to be active by default, so you would have to go ahead here to battery and just hit that toggle, and you're going to see the battery percentage right there. And you're also going to see the battery life so far, how long you've been on battery and all that. You can also see the screen time as well. Next, here in settings, when you go to protected apps, this is the section where you're actually going to limit the apps running in the background. Like you see here, I have 3 apps checked. That means that those 3 apps, if I lock the phone, those 3 apps still have permission to run in the background. Now make sure when you install apps, there's always going to be a section when you install an app in settings, in notifications, it's going to actually ask you, hey, do you want this app to be protected or not protected? That means if you want the app to be running in the background or not. So, and I think this is one of the reasons why this phone actually has good battery life, because you can actually put every app to not be running in the background, just like that. But you should know this, because if there's an app that you really want for it to run in the background, for example, like the podcast app, you want it to run in the background because if there's a new podcast, you want to receive it. If you're not receiving it, maybe it's because it's the protected feature is off on that app. So make sure you go ahead here and check if the status of the app. Other than that, I think this is a very cool feature to have. Here in fingerprint ID and settings, here we're gonna go ahead, click there again. You go ahead and enter your pin code that you assign to this, and now we can assign more fingerprints. You can assign up to 6 fingers. I think you can register up to 6 fingers, and it's very easy. All you gotta do is keep tapping on it until it says you're done, successfully done, and that's it. You can also assign a lot other functions to the fingerprint after you're done. But I gotta say, I'm very impressed with the fingerprint scanner on this phone. It is very, very fast. All you gotta do is place your finger on the sensor and it will unlock the phone very, very fast. I'm very impressed, especially because of the location. I think it's the proper way to have fingerprint scanner on. You can also here, if we go to back again to fingerprint ID, you can assign functions to the button as well, or to the sensor, because it's not actually a button, it's a sensor. When you select the back, you can actually use the finger sensor to back as a back button, which is cool, but sometimes it can be annoying if you're playing like a game or something like that. But you could do a lot of things. Like you could use it as a back to the home screen. You could take photos. You could stop alarm, answer calls, show notifications when you slide down, which is the feature that I'm using. If you slide down there, you can see the notifications, and it's very cool. This feature, I actually have it active because it's very easy to just access it. You can also slide up, and let's see, because the sensors are very small, so sometimes it's very hard to hit it. But when you hit it properly, like you see there, you can see the notification or the multiple apps running in the background. And here you slide down, you access the notification. That's very cool. So there you go. After you do the fingerprint scanner, the fingerprint registration, go ahead here and see if there's a function you can actually use. Next, I want to show you guys Watermark on photos. Here in camera, when you go here and tap the settings button, there's a watermark mode. And this is very cool, especially if you work in law enforcement. A lot of times you need to take pictures and you need to have a watermark so you can know the location, time, and date. And this works very cool. And this is a feature that a lot of phones do not have. So I think having it on this phone is very cool. And I think you should know about it. So this is all I'm going to show about camera on this video. If you want to see more features about the camera, go ahead and check my other video dedicated to camera and photos only. Here in settings, when you go to network apps, this is another section here where you can also use it to save battery life. And this is an app where you can prevent some apps from activating when there's a cellular or when you're using Wi-Fi. When it's a cellular network, you can deactivate it. That way, if you're not on Wi-Fi, the app doesn't try to use data. Right now, like you see there, all of them are active because I'm really testing this out. But for example, games, you can actually disable them if you don't want them to use a cellular network. But keep in mind, there's a lot of games that need cellular network, and there's a lot of apps that actually need the online feature active all the time. So be careful with what you do, but just remember, you can always go ahead here and see some apps that you can prevent from running while cellular or Wi-Fi. So I think this is another feature you should know. The Honor 5X also has on-screen buttons, but these buttons you can actually change them here in navigation bar. By default, it's going to be set right here, but you could change it right here on the second one if you want. You can also add another button for notifications. This is very cool, especially if you have small fingers and you want this to be a little bit more one-hand friendly. It's very cool that you can have the notification button right there. I think it's very cool. It looks very nice. The home button is always going to be in the middle. You cannot change that at all, but it's cool that you can actually have some customization here in your navigation bar. Another cool feature here is that you can actually activate double tap to turn on the smartphone. This is very cool. All you got to do is go to settings, go to motion control, and right here you're going to hit right there. It says double tap. By default it's going to be off, so make sure you hit the switch so you can turn it on, and that's it. All you got to do is tap on the screen, and that's it. Here you also have draw feature. You can actually draw a letter in the lock screen when it's off, and it will open a specific app. Like you see, there's 4 apps you can assign 4 letters. It's C, E, M, and W. And by default, I think you have the camera, the Chrome, the browser, the text message as well. And but you can always change it to whatever app you want as well. To do that, all you got to do is draw on the screen with the screen off, and look at that, it will automatically activate right here. Since we have the fingerprint activated, it will not open the app by default. But like you see here, if you don't have a fingerprint scanner activated, you're not using that feature, it will open the app that you assign to the letter, and it works very good. Like you see here, we write the E and it opens the Chrome browser because that's what we assign to it. But you can actually assign any app to any letter. Another thing about the Honor 5X is that a lot of people might not like the skin of this phone, the emotion UI, but no problem at all because this is Android and you could put any app. So to do that, go to manage apps here in settings. Go ahead here in the bottom, hit that, and here, like you see there, you could go ahead and launcher and select whichever launcher you have installed and click back and back, and there you go. Now you can have your phone with whatever launcher you like. Right now I'm using Google Now Launcher and it works perfectly good on this phone. No problems whatsoever. But make sure you go there to the manage app section and make it your default, because if you just install it and activate it, a lot of times you're going to turn on your phone and it's going to go back to the other launcher, the default launcher. So make sure you go to manage apps and make sure you hit here in the bottom, and now you have access to other things you can make change as default. Like for example, the messaging app, you can select your hangouts, your camera if you want to use another camera, your gallery. Here from gallery you could choose the photos. Here music, you can also choose the Google Music app. So like you see here, if you want to make your phone look like a stock Android, you can actually apply all the Chrome, all the Google apps as your default app, which is very cool. Now, one thing you should know before you buy this phone is that this phone is not compatible with USB on the go. No sirree, very sadly. If you're one of those that use the USB OTG a lot like I do, keep in mind, this is not gonna work. I tried it over and over again. Sadly, it didn't work. This drive I tested on my other phones and it works perfectly good. No problem whatsoever. So you should be able to plug your USB drive there and you should be able to see your drive popping up right there, and it doesn't. And I checked other places and yes, I've confirmed that it doesn't work. It's not that this phone is defected at all. That's very sad. This phone does not have USB on the go. Also, it doesn't have NFC. So that means if you are one of those that want to use Android Pay, you won't be able to do it with this phone because it also doesn't have NFC. So keep that in mind as well. And that's it, guys. Those are all the cool features that you should know about the Honor 5X if you're planning to buy this awesome $200 budget phone, which actually feels like a premium phone. Very, very well built, very nice design. And the operating system, for me, the UI, I don't have a problem with it, but a lot of people do. But remember, this is Android. You could customize it to whatever the hell you want. So honestly, in my opinion, it's totally worth this phone, the $200. And I hope you guys like this video. Let me know if you like it or not. And make sure you keep in touch with my channel, because later on, maybe a week from now, I'll have my final review of the Honor 5X. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time.